Hello again, year one and year two. This is Miss Fernandez again with your English lesson for today. All right, so hopefully by now you have completed your maths, you've completed some reading. Hopefully you've taken some time to do some phonics as well. And now we are going to do some English. So today is the 13th of July, 2021, and our learning objective today is to describe a character. But before we get into that, we're going to do a starter focus, which is all about word class. Now, this is talking about your nouns, your adjectives, your verbs. So, what I would like you to do is read through these sentences and can you tell me what the verb is in each sentence? So, what is the verb in each sentence? Okay, so we're looking for the verbs. Now, if you cannot remember what a verb is an action word. It's something that you do. For example, talk, jump, sing, laugh, watch. All of these are verbs because all of these involve actions that you do. Okay, you are doing something. So when you read through the sentence, take your time and can you tell me what the verbs are? What are the pandas doing in each sentence? Okay, so have a think, pause the screen, write down your verbs. I will read out the sentence for you if you were not sure. And then as I read the sentence, can you think, ooh, what's the action? What are the pandas doing? And write that down. So sentence one, pandas live in the mountains and forests of China. So pandas live in the mountains and forests of China. What is the verb? What is the action? What are the pandas doing? Sentence two. The panda nibbled on the bamboo. So the panda nibbled on the bamboo. What is the panda doing in this sentence? Sentence three. Pandas eat bamboo for about 12 hours a day. What are the pandas doing in this sentence? Pandas eat bamboo for about 12 hours a day. And finally, giant pandas don't hibernate. So in this case, the pandas are not doing something. So what is the action? What is the verb? Giant pandas don't hibernate. So have a think, write it down, pause the screen if you need more time. But if not, I'm going to go ahead with the answers. So number one, pandas live in the mountains and forests of China. The verb is live. What are they doing? They are living. Sentence two, the panda nibbled on the bamboo. What is the verb? What is the panda doing? He nibbled. It's in the past tense. He nibbled on something. Okay? Nibbled means tiny little bites. Sentence three, pandas eat bamboo for about 12 hours a day. What are the pandas doing? Well, they're eating. They eat bamboo. And the last sentence, giant pandas don't hibernate. Well, they're not doing something. So do not would be a verb. And hibernate, where they sleep for long periods of time. So that one was a little bit tricky. It had two verbs in there. The first one was do. The second one was hibernate. Giant pandas don't hibernate. All right, so your verbs are your action words. Hopefully that was a good quick starter for you. Today, we are going to listen to a story about a monster called Grendel. All right, I don't know if you guys have done the story yet, but I thought it's one of my favorite stories. Let's get some descriptive writing. Let's describe a character called Grendel. All right, now before we listen to the story, have a think about what it might be about. It says Grendel, a cautionary tale about chocolate. All right, so right away, I think that gives you an idea about what the story might be about. Okay, so now in order to watch this video, you can either go onto YouTube and search Grendel, A Tale About Chocolate, and go to the David Lucas version. That one is the best. All right, so go to YouTube, pause this video, go onto, click on the next link, pause this video, go onto YouTube, and then search Grendel, A Tale About Chocolate, and you should be able to find it and watch it. Now, if you're not able to do that, I'm going to try and share the video with you now. on my screen. And if you're not able to hear it, this is what I typed in, David Lucas Grendel, and this is where he reads the story to us.
This is my story, Grendel. And it's all about a cheeky little monster. And you can see him there, he's eating chocolate. And there's a fairy tale landscape. All my stories are a bit like fairy tales. And there's a cave and a fire burning and a sign that says, "Beware monsters." And there's a town in the distance. And there's Grendel, looking cheeky still. And there's Grendel playing with his dog. And there's the sign that says, "Beware monsters." And that's his mum coming over the hill with a shopping bag. Grendel loved his mum. Grendel loved his dog. But most of all, Grendel loved chocolate. "I bought you a chocolate egg," said Grendel's mum. "Chocolate," said Grendel. "Give it to me, give it to me." "I was only going to give it to you if you were good," said mum. "I'll be good, I'll be good." Grendel snatched the chocolate egg and ran. He sat in his secret hiding place. Delicious. Inside the chocolate egg was a note. A note? "You have 3 wishes, it said. "3 wishes, said Grendel. He didn't believe in magic. "I just wish I had more chocolate," he said. Crash! It works! He was just about to wish the whole world was chocolate when he stopped. No, he had to be sensible. "I know," he said. "I wish everything I touch turns to chocolate." The note was chocolate. Yum, 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 yum. He was sitting on a chocolate log. Snap. Yum, yum. He turned the trees to chocolate. Delicious. And the path, slurp, and the rocks, crunch. It was so much fun. Until the dog came to meet him. "No!" said Grendel. "Grendel, what have you done?" said Mum. "No!" said Grendel. "Mum, Mum, speak to me, Mum." But she didn't say a word. "I hate chocolate," roared Grendel. "I hate it, I hate it, I hate it." The sun was hot. Mum was starting to melt. "What have I done?" said Grendel. He was just about to say that he wished he wasn't so stupid when he stopped. "I've got one more wish." Think, Grendel, think carefully. He had an idea. He closed his eyes. He crossed his claws. "I wish, I wish. I wish it was yesterday." His pillow wasn't chocolate or his blanket. He heard singing. What a wonderful familiar sound. "Mum, Mum," he cried, "you're not chocolate." "Me, chocolate? No, dear." He hugged her for a long, long time, and then he hugged the dog. "What's happened to you?" she said. "You're so different." Then she smiled. "You're a good little monster, really." "Look, I bought you a chocolate egg." "You have it," said Grendel. "Grendel, are you sure?" "Yes, Mum, but if there's a little note inside." There was a little note inside. "You have 3 wishes." And he told her the whole story. And of course, the moral of this story is to be careful what you wish for. And they were. Very careful indeed. So that's...
Okay, so that was the end of the story. Hopefully you guys were able to hear that and watch it. If not, as I said, Go onto YouTube. What you can do is search Grendel, A Tale About Chocolate or David Lucas Grendel, okay? Because David Lucas was the man in the video who was the author of the story, and he just read the story for us. Now, I really enjoy that story because it teaches us to be really careful what we wish for, okay? What do you think was the moral of the story? Well, I thought it was be really careful what you wish for. Try not to be too silly if he did have three wishes, because what happened when Grendel wished that everything he touched turned to chocolate, he turned his dog into chocolate and he turned his mum into chocolate. All right. And it might be all right, to turn the trees or your table or your computer, but everything else, oh dear. All right. So before we continue on to describing Grendel, can you think what kind of monster was he and how did he make you feel? David Lucas describes him as a little bit cheeky, right? But what did you think about Grendel? Okay, we are going to use adjectives to describe the monster. As you remember, adjectives describes things. They describe the noun or the pronoun. So in this sentence, can you tell me what are the adjectives? What are the describing words? Now, describe means it tells you what it looks like. So let me read the sentence to you. The red ball fell onto the floor, which was wet. So, what were the describing words? Well, they are already bolded for us. It is red. What kind of ball was it? It was a red ball. And then wet. What kind of floor? Well, the floor was wet. Those are the adjectives in that sentence. They describe the noun. So the noun would be ball, which is a thing, or the noun would be floor, which is a thing. All right, so your adjectives and then your nouns. Okay, now you can make nouns more interesting by adding these adjectives. So I'm going to have a go. Which adjectives do I think would improve these nouns? So my first noun is forest. What kind of forest? Well, I could do a green forest, or I could also do a dark forest. Or even better than that, I could do a gloomy forest. Okay, so I could have a green forest, a dark forest, a gloomy forest. What about a book? Okay, well, I could just describe the color of the book. I could say it's a red book, but I could say it was a very exciting book. Okay, or I could say it was a strange book. There's lots of different adjectives you can use to describe book. And finally, we've got a machine. So think about machines that might be around your house. Well, again, I could always go color. I could go with a gray machine, but I could also go with a noisy machine. Or I could be really, really adventurous with my words, and I could say it was a fascinating machine. That means it really fascinated me. It really impressed me. It really made me go, wow. All right, so that's what fascinating means. So it's your turn now. Can you have a go at describing these three nouns? So, as always, you can always go with the color, but then you could also go with some more exciting adjectives. All right, so have a go. Your turn. Can you describe a wizard? Can you describe a tree? Can you describe a scorpion? Okay, so pause the video, have a go. Think of at least 3 different adjectives. Really challenge yourselves for some higher level words. If you want, go ahead, go with the color, or really challenge yourselves, go with some really interesting words. Okay, so a word that I might take for a wizard, so make sure you've paused the video and had a go. I might go with a magical wizard. For tree, I might go with a gigantic tree, which means it's really tall. Scorpion, I might say a poisonous scorpion. All right. Okay, so now that we've had practice with adjectives, your activity for today is to describe Grendel. So David Lucas had given us some words for Grendel already. He said that Grendel was a little bit cheeky. All right. He said he loved his mum, so he was a lovable character. He was a lovely friend, a lovely monster, but he was also cheeky. Maybe you want to describe his teeth. Maybe you want to go sharp teeth. Maybe you want to describe his claws. Maybe you could go with pointy claws. Maybe you want to describe his horns. You could go with curly horns, but it is completely up to you. How are you going to describe Grendel? That is your activity for today. Your challenge, can you draw a picture of Grendel and describe him? So here's an example that I found that someone had done. So they drew a picture of Grendel and they labeled it with all different ideas. Okay, so this activity will be on Teams, or you can just take a picture of your work, or you can do it on a sheet of paper. It's completely up to you. But please make sure that you upload your assignments onto Teams. All right, so describe Grendel. If you can't watch the video, or if you haven't watched it yet, go back onto YouTube, watch it again. And the story again is called Grendel, a cautionary tale about chocolate. Okay, so go back in the video if you need some more time, rewatch it, pause it, go over it again, and then once you have finished, you can complete your activity. All right, well done, year 1 and year 2 for completing today's English lesson.